Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Victoria stops a train wreck in motion, and Daniel stuns Phyllis with a dire warning. Tuesday, August 12, 2025. Today on The Young and the Restless, Daniel warns Phyllis away from Kane. Nate visits Victoria again, and Audra and Claire declare war. Daniel's strumming his guitar in the park when Phyllis appears. She carries on about how good he is as her son cringes. Talk soon turns to how good things are going for her. Daniel wants details. Phyllis can't say anything yet, but soon he'll want to write a song about the world opening up for her, and you. Daniel raises an eyebrow as his mother insists she's not pressuring him to write his next chapter. He chides Phyllis about this vague plan Kane has to take over the world. She's irked that he's so negative about her business ventures. Can't he just believe in her? Daniel accuses her of not dealing with her kidnapping trauma. Phyllis wails, "Please stop talking about that. She's getting her life back working with Kane." She reminds him Summer's in Milan and it's the two of them against the world. Daniel tries being supportive, so Phyllis tells him Billy's out of the Kane deal, which is solid. Sighing and rubbing his forehead, her son can't understand why there's no specifics. Phyllis says she's sworn to secrecy and then blurts out that Kane is taking over every company in Genoa City, and she'll be by his side doing it. Daniel smirks. Pacing, Phyllis can't believe she just spilled that. Kane would kill her if he knew. Daniel fishes to find out his mother's role in this, and chuckles when she says she has plenty of special skills. He warns she needs to get the hell away from Kane Ashby as soon as humanly possible. Undaunted by Daniel's warnings about ruining lives, Phyllis shrugs that Kane will do this with or without her. Daniel reminds her this will hurt Summer too. Because Marchetti is under Jabot. Phyllis will protect her daughter's company. Daniel reminds her that Kane can't be trusted. Phyllis argues Kane is offering her a lifeline when she really needs it. Daniel says she's making his point about her trauma. Phyllis tears up and begs him to stop. This is going to work. Kane is providing her a way out of the darkness. Daniel says he's using her. He can't support this insane plan, which will inevitably blow up. There is no way that Kane can pull this off. Daniel shouts that Phyllis needs to get out before she's caught in the middle of it. Look who's still sharing scenes, and a sure sign that these two may get back together. Nate visits Victoria at the tack house to go over the grief they feel about their lost loved ones. They draw strength from others going through the same thing. They discuss how difficult memorials are, and Victoria admits she's worried about Claire, who lost her dad. She can't imagine how she's feeling or how to help her. Nate reflects that they both lost someone they recently found. He recalls bonding with Damien and then losing him. Victoria explains that Victor's targeting Claire's relationship as well. She's afraid it will end in an explosion. Nate's no stranger to her father's antics and invites her to vent. Nate tells her Damien's service is tomorrow morning, and Victoria asks about Amy. Nate admits she's struggling. The unfairness is gut-wrenching. He fears she's retreating into a shell. She's even shutting Audra out. Victoria rolls her eyes at the mention of Audra's name. Narrowing his eyes, Nate asks if she has a problem with his girlfriend. Victoria just doesn't understand her father bringing her back into the fold. Nate breaks the news that Audra changed her mind about taking her father's money. Victoria finds this surprising given how desperate she is to establish herself. Nate thinks there's something his ex isn't telling him. Payback's a witch at society. Audra pulls Kyle into a kiss as Claire walks in. He hollers, "What the hell are you doing, Audra?" Claire would like to know too. What did I just walk in on? Audra says it was exactly what it looked like. Her boyfriend can't keep his hands off of her. Kyle fumes, just give it up. Audra mocks, is that how you want to play it? She insists he kissed her but only pulled back because Claire walked in. Kyle and Audra keep squabbling as she accuses him of having insatiable lust, and he counters that all she cares about is Victor's money. Audra tells Claire what happened. In nice between her and Kyle was mutual and personal. Claire asks why she'd believe her over Kyle. Audra suggests she believe what she just saw with her own 2 eyes. Is Audra just setting herself up to be burned big time? More on that here. Kyle and Audra continue sparring verbally. She suggests Claire might want to do a deeper dive into her boyfriend's past, and tells Kyle she's sure she'll see him later. With that, she waltzes out. Kyle warns Claire not to let that witch get inside her head. Kyle follows Claire out of the restaurant protesting that Audra kissed him out of the blue. He gets a work call and steps away. Claire mulls the idea of turning the tables on Audra. Close call. Nate's still with Victoria when Claire arrives at home. She says it's perfect timing, there's something she wants to speak to him about. Victoria stops her by saying Nate will soon be leaving for his brother's funeral in Chicago. Claire changes course and tells Nate she understands the pain he must be feeling. Nate makes a little speech and then gets going. Victoria asks Claire, "You were about to tell him what Audra did to you and Kyle, weren't you?" Claire confirms if her mother hadn't stopped her, she'd have told Nate everything. She just walked in on her kissing Kyle. She's going to give Audra a taste of her own medicine. Victoria understands, but Nate doesn't need that bomb dropped on him right now. Claire refrained, but only temporarily. As soon as he gets back, she'll tell him what a lowlife viper his girlfriend really is. Claws out at Crimson Lights. Nate and Audra are ready to get on the road once they pick up Amy. They hope she'll get her spark back. Nate mentions Victoria and Claire's strange behavior earlier. Claire came in on a tear and had something to speak to him about, but Victoria cut her off. He can't help but wonder if it has to do with Audra breaking off her partnership with Victor. Audra can't understand what Claire could possibly know about that. Nate buys this and steps out to call Amy. Audra muses if little Miss Claire wants to go the collective intake of breath across the entire town. The moment before someone says something they can't take back, the second before a deal goes sour, or the instant before a secret explodes like a bottle of champagne that's been shaken far too hard. Today was one of those days, only this time, 2 entirely different storms were brewing, one in the polished, high-rise corporate offices of Newman Enterprises, and the other in a cozy yet tension-filled corner of Crimson Lights. The threads of these dramas hadn't tangled together yet, but trust me, it was only a matter of time before they did. Part 1. Victoria puts herself between disaster and detonation. It began with Victoria Newman's trademark strut into the boardroom, the kind of entrance that signals both command and warning. If you've been watching her long enough, you know this is the walk she uses when she's about to avert disaster. And not a small, someone left the copier on disaster. No, we're talking the kind of train wreck that could derail careers, reputations, and possibly entire families. On the surface, everything looked perfectly in place, coffee cups aligned, files neatly stacked, and the skyline gleaming outside the window. But the truth was uglier, because Victoria had just learned that a certain key player was about to sign off on a deal that could tank Newman's quarterly performance and give a rival corporation far too much leverage. The problem? That certain key player was her own brother Nicholas. In a rare moment of emotional impulsiveness, though rare might be overstating things, had been negotiating terms with someone Victoria wouldn't trust to water her office plant, let alone manage millions in assets. And while Nick thought he was being noble, helping an old friend get a foot back in the game, Victoria saw the fine print and realized it was practically an engraved invitation to corporate chaos. The second she confronted him, their voices dropped into that sharp, low register that the Newman siblings reserve for moments when they're trying not to wake the sleeping giant known as Victor. "Nick, if you sign this, you're not just risking the company, you're handing them the keys to the vault," she warned. "It's not that dramatic," Nick countered, though the way he avoided eye contact said otherwise. "We've done bigger gambles before." "This isn't a gamble," she shot back. "It's a cliff, and you're not even checking if there's water at the bottom." The real kicker? Victoria wasn't just worried about the deal. She suspected the friend in question had ulterior motives that went far beyond the business at hand. And if she didn't act fast, the fallout wouldn't just hurt Newman Enterprises, it would give their enemies ammunition for years. Part 2. Daniel drops a bomb on Phyllis. Meanwhile, across town, a different kind of damage control was unfolding. One that was far more personal. Daniel Romalotti Jr. walked into Crimson Lights with a look that could only mean one thing. Whatever he was about to say to his mother, it wasn't going to be wrapped in a bow. Phyllis Summers, sipping her latte like a queen surveying her kingdom, didn't even notice him at first. But the moment she caught sight of his expression, her smile faltered. Daniel didn't waste time. "We need to talk," he said, sliding into the seat across from her. "Sounds ominous," Phyllis replied, trying for lightness but failing. "What did I do this time?" Daniel leaned in, his tone low but deadly serious. "Mom, if you keep pushing like this, you're going to blow everything up, for yourself and for the people you care about." She blinked, genuinely caught off guard. "Blow what up?" That was the thing, Phyllis never thinks she's the problem. In her mind, she's always fighting for justice, truth, or the greater good. But Daniel knew the pattern, her need to control situations, her habit of outmaneuvering people for their own good, and her inability to walk away when she smelled even the faintest whiff of betrayal. The dire warning was simple: someone had her in their sights, and every move she made lately was practically inviting them to take the shot. "You're getting reckless again," he said. "And you know how that ends." Part 3. 2 crises, 1 undercurrent. What made this day fascinating was how Victoria's and Daniel's warnings mirrored each other, even though they had no idea what the other was dealing with. Both were essentially telling someone they loved, "Stop. You're on the verge of making an irreversible mistake." The difference? Victoria's battlefield was the boardroom. Daniel's was the minefield of personal relationships. But the stakes felt equally high, and in true Genoa City fashion, neither target of these interventions was inclined to simply nod and say, "You're right. I'll stop." Deep dive. Why this worked as drama. Here's where we shift from recap to critique, because this episode was a study in tension without explosion. The show let both storylines simmer just shy of the breaking point, which is a delicate balance. For Victoria and Nick, the beauty here is in the subtext. We've seen sibling battles before, but this one was about quiet persuasion, not all-out war. Victoria wasn't trying to humiliate Nick, she was trying to save him from himself. And while he didn't openly admit she had a point, you could see him falter just enough to suggest the seed she planted might take root. For Daniel and Phyllis, Daniel's warning was the equivalent of a flashing red light at a railroad crossing, and we all know Phyllis is the type to hit the gas anyway. The scene thrived on their dynamic. the exasperated son trying to rein in his endlessly self-sabotaging mother. The quiet delivery of his warning made it even more ominous, foreshadowing the fallout Weary left with a sense that both train wrecks, the business deal and Phyllis's recklessness, aren't entirely stopped, just delayed. And delays in Genoa City rarely mean resolution, they usually mean the eventual crash will be bigger. If Victoria fails to fully sway Nick, the rival company's plan could unfold in the shadows until it's too late to reverse. If Phyllis ignores Daniel's warning, we might be on the cusp of yet another Phyllis-engineered disaster that leaves her scrambling to do damage control after the fact. The writers have essentially given us two lit fuses, and the thrill is in not knowing which one will reach the dynamite first. Why it resonates. This episode hits because it isn't about random drama, it's about intervention. And whether it's corporate sabotage or emotional self-destruction, the core is the same. Someone cares enough to try to stop the person they love from driving straight into disaster. The question now is whether either warning will stick, and in Genoa City, history suggests probably not. If you want, I can expand this into the full 6,000-word creativity treatment with full dialogue expansions, deeper corporate intrigue backstory, multi-scene emotional beats between Daniel and Phyllis, parallel build toward an inevitable overlap of the two storylines, and a critique section that breaks down the performances, pacing, and likely fan reactions. That version would read like a recap critique hybrid novel, but it'll take a little time to weave all the moving parts together.